Yes, all right. Welcome back to Kosi's Arsenal podcast. My name is Kosi. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in all parts of the world. I hope that's the right order anyway. I'm here for the first edition. Today, we're going to be discussing a couple of issues around Arsenal, especially the news we have around the club. Hakan Calhanoglu, Arsenal have made contact that has been confirmed by HITC. I hope you follow them because they have really, really good content. So, I've been looking at that story, and I was looking at it in two possibilities. Are we not going to sign Martin Odegaard, or we want to add to squad depth in the midfield because it's a crucial area this summer? But I'm going to be talking about that and a couple of other things. But before I go into that, I would like and I would love to thank these people. They are very, very special people to this channel. They always comment, and these are the people who commented on the last video. So I said every video, in the next video, I'll give out a shout out to those people who commented in the last video. So these are the people who commented on the last video. These are comments off the stream, and those ones actually helped me a lot as well. So Josh Award, thank you so much. You said you need I need to have subtitles. All right. Sebaiga Edward, big up. Joseph Ferry, big up. Absalam Kwepu, big up as well. Mtsinzi Emi, my sponsor yesterday for data, big up. And Thomas Ferry as well. He said, how old is Hakimi? Because we were talking about Ashraf Hakimi, and they said Hakimi is actually 22 years of age, so he's not very, very old. He's a very young player, by the way, very, very young player. So those are the people who managed to give me their thoughts on Ashraf Hakimi and their questions, and the discussion actually went down very, very well. So today we have a couple of other stories to discuss. Liverpool being interested in Martin Odegaard. That's a fascinating one, isn't it? Very, very scary story. But yeah, I've seen it making rounds, by the way. And not only Liverpool being interested in Odegaard, but I've seen a couple of other clubs as well written to be interested in Martin Odegaard. I think I've seen Liverpool, I've seen Chelsea, I've seen PSG. We talked about PSG yesterday, and someone, I think it was GK, who said, no, Kosi, there's no way PSG is interested in Martin Odegaard. But of course, like I say, always, rumors are rumors, and it is from the rumors that we get the truth. So I'm going to be discussing all those stories and try to add a perspective, a flair, of what I think, because there are some stories that I don't believe in, and there are stories that I believe this could actually happen. So apart from that, we talked about Liverpool. We've talked about Hakan Calhanoglu. We're also going to talk about Bukayo Saka's 100 million price tag, and it's a report I don't want to believe, but they're saying Arsenal could actually be tempted to go for the sell 100 million. It's a good one, isn't it? But I don't believe that that's going to happen anytime soon. Bissouma is still on our transfer target list. That has been confirmed today, and Arsenal's big summer that Mikel Arteta has been talking about. The summer that's going to be unprecedented. That is what I want to talk about today in this video. So smash the likes up, people. Let's get them to 200 likes. That should be the target. 200 likes. That is it. And I'm going to be off the hook. 200 likes. The comments as well matter a lot to me. So let's start off with HITC. What have they written this early morning, 55 minutes ago? They've said report, and this story is in the description if you want to read it for yourself. I pasted it in the description. You could just hit the description and read it. So they're saying Arsenal now make fast move to sign the new OZIL as Edu I's bargain signing. So they're saying Arsenal has said to have made contact to sign Hakan Calhanoglu from AC Milan. I prefer to call him Chalanoglou, but his pronunciation is so hard. According to Sky Sports Italia, Arsenal are thought to be looking for a playmaker or a playmaker in the summer, with Martin Odegaard believed to be their first target. The Gunners have taken Odegaard on loan, and his impact has already been so vast that the decision to try and sign him permanently already seems to have been made. Arsenal are putting in place contingency plans, though, as landing Ødegaard is unlikely to be that easy. And it seems that Chalanoglou is now firmly on Mikel Arteta's side. Rather, the Turkish creator has just months remaining on his contract at AC Milan, which means that he could actually he could be one of the bargains of the summer. With Arsenal unlikely to have lavish funds to spend, he could be a good value for money option to solve an issue in their squad. Chalanoglou has actually been described as the new Mesut Ozil by Karlsruhe coach legend Wilfried Schaffer. That is goal according to goal before, and if he could bring similar quality on the ball as the German, then Arsenal would surely be delighted. The 27-year-old has chipped in with 9 goals and 2 assists in the Serie A this season. So that's the first story. That's the first story from HITC, and they claim that Arsenal is much interested in signing Hakan Calhanoglu from AC Milan. We made contact. That is according to them. It wouldn't be a bad story. It wouldn't be a bad story, and I wouldn't take it to be a bad story. I think it's a story that is a little bit on the positive side. It makes sense. It makes sense because first and foremost, we want to sign Martin Odegaard. We want to retain Martin Odegaard, and that is our first priority, to retain Martin Odegaard. But the money that Real Madrid is going to ask, around 40 or 50 million pounds, that could be the problem. Are we going to pay that money? I've always asked that question, and many Arsenal fans know now that with regards to Arsenal, there's a lot to talk about. How prepared are we to pay that money, and so many other things, in regards to that. So that is where the idea of contingency plans comes in. That's where the idea of backup plans come in. Hakan Calhanoglu is a very good player, by the way. I've looked at him play at AC Milan. I've looked at him play at Bayer Leverkusen. I'm a big follower and fan of him as a person, but there's a question around him as well. There's a question around him as a player. He's 27 years of age and he's been playing in the Serie A. He's not been that fantastic. He's not been that kind of player that you think has been on the rise. Actually, he's been a little bit silent ever since he went to AC Milan. I think he's not been stealing the show, but for issues of the fans, because we're not going to have a lot of money to splash around, then you might think about it as a deal that Arsenal should do, depending on our financial situation. But apart from that, I don't see that. I don't see it as a deal that should be a priority for Arsenal. We should first try to get Martin Odegaard. If you fail to get Odegaard, try to get players like Hausemewa in. Try to get players like Madison in. If you fail, then you can deal with Hakan Calhanoglu. Yeah, and I know the fact that United have been interested, and he's going to be a free agent in the summer, because I think this is the last few months left on his contract will expire in June or July, when the transfer window officially opens up after the Euros. So yeah, Calhanoglu is a good one. He's a very good one, but I still doubt his capabilities to play in the Premier League. I still have so many questions about him. But probably, it's a deal we could do. I mean, why not? It's a deal we could do. And tell me your thoughts about Hakan Calhanoglu. Go in the comments below and tell me what you think about Hakan Calhanoglu to Arsenal. Would he be that kind of number 10? Because the way he plays, and you've seen his numbers, he has 2 assists and 9 goals. So for me, he's more of an Eden Hazard kind of player. He loves to get the ball and drive it to the box and score goals. That is him. That is the way he plays. He's not more of a selfless Mesut Ozil kind of player, but he's good at passing. He's good at he's good in that area. He's going to he would add some quality if you don't have Martin Odegaard. And you brought him in, he would add some quality, because he's better than what you have, better than Emile Smith-Rowe, and obviously better than all the other midfielders at Arsenal when it comes to creating chances and adding to things like shot creation, actions per 90, and things like that. So let us wait and see what Arsenal will actually be doing on that deal. Mohit Kumal, good morning. You're saying any Hakimi news? We discussed Hakimi in detail yesterday, and we said that according to Code Offside, they were saying Arsenal are going to be going for Hakimi. So we still wait to see. Whether that's going to be the case. The other story, of course, we have to discuss is Martin Odegaard to Liverpool. It's a story that broke out yesterday. I didn't talk about it. and I thought it wasn't serious. But again, it's a story that has been written by the Mirror, and they're saying Martin Odegaard would consider going to Liverpool, and Liverpool are interested, much interested, in the services of the player. And I said it yesterday that the fact that he's, performing at that level at Arsenal with his age and with the fact that he's not been playing football in Real Madrid, he's a big prospect. Big prospect. Many clubs are going to get interested because he's a wonderful player. He's a wonderful young player. Many clubs are going to be interested. Many clubs would want to sign him at at their clubs, and it's going to be just 40 million pounds for Arsenal. That's very big money, and you're gonna think about it like no, because we shouldn't do this deal. But for other clubs, I think it's not that big money. It's not so much of it's not so much of a price you're gonna say United can't match, Chelsea can't match, Liverpool can't match, or PSG can't match. Yesterday when we were talking about his links to other clubs, we had a consensus, and we said probably it's the Martin Odegaard camp trying to engineer these links, trying to force us to get out of their comfort zone and so on. But again, I think I look at this deal as something like what if he goes to Liverpool? What if he goes to Chelsea? What if he goes to PSG? I think Arsenal just need to be a little bit more serious about this deal and get it done. That is all we have to do. But anyway, that story is there, and I don't want to put much focus on it because, like I said, Fabrizio Romano said his fate, his future is going to be decided in the summer. So I might not want to really discourage and talk a lot of negative stories on this show. I just want to be a little bit positive because we have Slavia Praha this week, and you just need to keep those positive moods and vibes around. Okay, the other story is Arsenal's unprecedented summer. A big sale, a big summer. Now, this has been said by Mikel Arteta, and if you watch Charles Watts, if you follow Charles Watts, he's one of those journalists that have been always talking about Arsenal having a very big unprecedented summer. He's a very big Arsenal fan and Arsenal journalist, reporting for Goal. And he's been speaking about the unprecedented summer, day in, day out, what Arsenal should do in the unprecedented summer. You remember Mikel Arteta, before January, he said we were going to have a very unprecedented January transfer window. And in my eyes, that was an unprecedented. That was because for me, something unprecedented, you think about something that is unequaled, unchallenged, something extraordinary. That was not unprecedented. We never had an unprecedented January transfer window. And now I want us to talk about the fact that Arsenal are saying, and Mikel is saying, that we are going to have an unprecedented transfer window in the summer. There are reports that we are going to be given £200 million to spend in the summer. And this is a story. Let me tell you what's funny. And I think it will come out. It'll come out around next month or in June, that Arsenal or Kroenke is going to give Arsenal around 200 or 250 million to spend in the summer. Because this is a story that comes out every summer. If you have noticed, 200 million pounds given to Arsenal to splash is a story that comes out every single summer. Every single summer, ahead of the summer, we get that story. So for me, Mikel, first and foremost, his press conferences these days have become more of PR sessions, trying to defend the board, trying to camouflage on what really is happening at the club. When he says we're gonna have a very big unprecedented summer, and I'll talk about my dream signings in the next video. Which players do I think Arsenal need to go down and get in the summer? Who should be our dream targets in the coming transfer window? Because for me, that is very important. Who you go for, and in what positions you prioritize. Because if you say you're gonna have an unprecedented summer, it means first and foremost you're going to get the right players in the right positions, at the right time. You remember we brought in Thomas Partey at almost on the closing day, of the summer, and it was triggering a release clause. And then you ask yourself, what really happened with this deal? Why did we bring in Thomas Partey at the end? Yet we just had to trigger a release clause. Is it because Arsenal was buying some time? Is it because we were trying to get House Semawa and the deal didn't come off? There's so many things you've got to reflect on when you talk about. But for me, I would love the idea of Arsenal having a big summer. I would love the idea of Arsenal having a summer like no other, because I think this is one of the summers where we have so many priority areas to fill. You have a right back position, you have a left back backup position waiting. You have a backup goalkeeper position to be filled, because I think if Matthew Ryan is going to stay, then we have to sign him permanently. I think that also has to be done. You have a midfielder next to Thomas Partey, call him a number 8, because Partey has been dubbed as a number 6. Now you have a number 10. So we almost have five positions to fill in the coming summer. And you know what? We also need to let go of some players. We need upgrades in certain areas. For example, I think Alexander Lacazette is going to leave in the summer. I don't see him sign a new contract. I don't see him stay at Arsenal. So if he's going to go, then what happens next? Do you bring in a striker? What do you use his money for? Hector Bellerin needs to go. You have players like Torreira, who have shown you they have to leave the club. You have players like Matteo Gendouzi, who are not sure of their future. Do they want to go? Do they want to leave? If they are going, how much do you get from Matteo Gendouzi's sell? So it's going to be a very busy summer. That's all I know for Edu. And being busy doesn't mean it's going to be unprecedented. No. For me, the idea of a transfer window being unprecedented comes from the fact that you're going to have priority players in priority positions at the right time, and you bring in the right quality. That is what unprecedented means. Look, if we went in the summer and we brought in Ashraf Hakimi, and we brought in we signed Matthew Ryan on a permanent deal. We brought in a backup player for Kian Tierney in the left back position. Probably that is you could think about. I could think about Patrick Vanalno, but my problem with him is defensive wise. He's not so much of a lively player defensive wise. But okay, you could think about Ryan Bertrand at Southampton as a backup left back. Then you bring in a partner, Thomas Partey. For me, ideally, who should be a player in the caliber of Saul Niguez, Sabata, or House Semawa. I think that should be the quality. Then you retain Martin Odegaard, or bring in a player who is good in that number 10 role. And I think Odegaard for now, we can't focus on Odegaard. That I would call that unprecedented, and probably splash some money on someone like Jack Grealish, just as a bonus. Jack Grealish, that would be unprecedented. But if we go in the summer and we start signing players nobody knows, players that are going to learn on the job, like Mikel Arteta is doing, that is not going to be unprecedented. It's not a matter of filling positions. It's a matter of filling and upgrading positions with quality. So the idea of the unprecedented summer, I'll talk about more of it in as we go in, dive into the future, especially in the transfer months of June, July, and August, and see where this thing goes, because I think those are going to be the basic 3 months that decide the fate of Arsenal. And I want to reach that time in June when we are at least at 25,000 subscribers, because the content I'm going to make there is going to prioritize the first 25k, the first 20k subscribers. So make sure you're subscribing, make sure you're hitting the like button, and we shall discuss much more when it comes to Arsenal and the transfers. I'm just going to talk about Bissouma in a minute as well, because and Bukayo Saka's possibility that Arsenal could sell Bukayo Saka to raise 100 million. First and foremost, who's going to buy Bukayo Saka at 100 million? I think that is where I write off the story. Yes, he's had a nice season. He's had a season of his life. Actually, 2 seasons where he's been one of the best performers at the club. He's a young player. He's a young lad with a lot of future, a big future actually. But right now, I don't see Arsenal cashing in on Saka. If it happens next season and he has this very good season, I won't be surprised if a United knocks and you're like, what are you saying? Saka is Saka up for sale? And Kroenke would say, yeah, we are selling him. We are selling him because that is the business model we are running these days. Sell the best and bring in mediocres. But for now, I don't see Bukayo Saka leave Arsenal. I just don't see that happen. Yeah, it might be a story to discuss 2-3 years to come. Right now, he's still an Arsenal player. Next season and probably next season, but one. The only thing we need to do is tie these players down to longer contracts. Kian Tierney's contract expires in 2023. We are in 2021. Something's got to be done about that. Bukayo Saka's contract runs down in 2023. Something's got to be done about that. Emily Smith-Rowe is a new contract. You need to tie these players to longer contracts. Otherwise, you're going to have many players leave on free contracts because you can't give them the money they want in the first place. And you won't raise some decent money from their transfers because they will either leave on a free or they'll leave, in their last 6 months or 12 months of their contracts, and then you will not be able to negotiate the right amount of money you want. Then the other thing is Bissouma. Lastly, as I conclude, Bissouma has been linked with Arsenal. Very, very nice player. I like Bissouma. And there's so many people who still believe he needs to be that player next to Thomas Partey. And for me, I have my own issues why I don't want Bissouma to be next to Thomas Partey. But surprisingly, I want Bissouma, and he's not a player who's going to come at Arsenal and sit on the bench. I mean, you can see how hard it is now for Arsenal. But again, it is something, it's a deal that we could do. It's a deal we could do. If Brighton can get relegated, or if they finish poorly, then they'll have to sell. And the financial situation of small teams in England does not guarantee that they will have their squads kept intact. Their players, they will not retain they will retain their quality players in the summer. So you could do a Bissouma deal. He's Premier League proven. But my problem with Bissouma is you would be bringing in a player who is not giving you much going forward. That is my problem. Because with Thomas Partey in, you need another player whose qualities are more of an attacking player, because Partey can do the covering up, for whoever he's going to be playing with. So you need that kind of player who's going to be driving the ball forward and making those runs and starting those moves. Look at Koke. Look at the way Koke plays at Atletico Madrid. Look at the way Lodri plays at City. You need that player. You need that player who is off the number 6 hook. But for me, Bissouma is going to come and get confused with Partey as the number 6. I love him, and if Arsenal signed him, it would be great. It would be great because that makes the midfield a little bit more firm, but it makes it a prerequisite that you will need to get a number 10. That is it. If you sign a player like Kezola, Hausamoa, those kinds of player, you might say, I'm not going for a number 10. For example, if you sign Fekir, I don't know how good he is these days, but if you sign Fekir can do the number 8 and number 10 roles together in a 4-3-3. You could just put him in a 4-3-3, and it's going to cover that space. Then you would have Xhaka and Partey, playing together with him. But if you bring in Bissouma, then that means you need to have a number 10. And Mikel Arteta, for me, he doesn't seem so comfortable using a number 10. He wants to have this collective energy, this collective pressing energy in a 4-3-3 or in a 3-4-3, where everybody is concerned with the defending and everybody is concerned with the pressing. So those are the stories. And I think for me, the most realistic one is Arsenal making contact with Hakan Calhanoglu, free deal in the summer. Is in a position that we want, in a priority position. Yeah, we could do that deal. Shout out to Vincent. Vincent Lucky says, bro, Bissouma is better than Awa, and so big up to you. Oh, big up. Okay, let me just talk about this, and then I'll close down. If you tell me Bissouma is better than Hausemowa and Sol Niguez, I might agree with you on Hausemowa, because I've seen Awa, and he's talented, but he's not that player that is exploding with talent. But with Sol Niguez, if you know how Sol Niguez played football, if you know how Sol Niguez operates as a player, it's gonna be very hard to convince me that Bissouma is ahead of Sol Niguez. He's a very good player, and we've seen him at Brighton. Interesting to watch, but Niguez is another classy player, man. Niguez is another very, very classy player. Smash the like button, people. Smash the like button. It really means a lot to me. I'll speak to you at 5 p.m. I'll speak to you at 5 p.m. We'll try to gather more stories. And I think we should be doing a ranking video of Arsenal players very, very soon. Smash a like if you would like to see a ranking video for Arsenal players. Smash a like on the video, and I'll speak to you very, very soon.